Hey YouTube, looks like I've gone ahead and corroborated the suburbs using districts with 3 new suburbs this episode: Marsh Island, Hillport and the Sticks. Also, we can reference 3 regional areas: Main Beach Metro from last time, and now the Wharfside region and Marsh Island, liable to split into multiple suburbs later. Industry is dead. I've been having the problem of not enough natural resources, and this proved catastrophic once I covered the island in farms, which are industry and complain as such. I searched everywhere in the tri-state area for a solution with no luck, and Australia doesn't even have a tri-state area, so you can infer the level of difficulty. My non-solution, then, was to convert farms to dummy buildings with Rico. A sad loss is the industry's DLC production chain traffic. Following last episode's baby boom, I introduced SLUMS to fill the remaining available jobs, a feature omitted from the title of this video as I plan to develop the area more comprehensively in future. Building the slums. How to build these slums? A failed take inhabits the garbage route with a main street, 4 lines of 1x1 commercial, this feature in particular not being a fail as I re-implement on the next take. And I pre-lay the grid before filling with blocks of slumware. Looks more like a summer camp or a camp much more nefarious than slums. Take 2, organic shack blobs enclosing gaps overlapped with stacked shacks, little enough separated that they protrude the roads, so I ban non-essential traffic to prevent cars meandering through buildings except on more spacious thoroughfares. Tracing the canal's edge, I feel there should be intermittent scenic/constitutional welfare openings, apparently a feeling not necessarily shared IRL. Maybe the slums will take on more of a Kowloon walled city vibe when burgeoned. The main street is laid again, on the canal-facing side of the road only, suggesting the pocket between was the designated extent for slum development. A slight grid backs the main street with a momentary density increase. Having almost satisfied employment demand at this point, the remaining pocket spreads into lower density singular dwellings, plus palms. Building the coastal infrastructure. Wanting to utilise the declining quayside as a boat ramp around which to centre a village, I carve out a cement box for parking and add some sheds for boat stuff, before committing to more solid industry with this old-timey brick structure, reminiscent of this decommissioned coastal industry in Port Lincoln. Turning up the maritime with a wharf? Hiding the rounded fence edges of a boardwalk segment by sinking into the quay, and a second iteration adjoining the extended quay with a couple piers for aesthetic measure. The pillars spawned by the boardwalk are perfect here once rotated to reveal their cross-sectiony veneer. Continuing the wharfside-bound median road's journey around the coast, I originally widen the median, breaking parallel as each lane hugs the mountain at differing altitudes so that the curvature of each road is distinct. Hello there, wouldn't you like an interchange? Turns out they wouldn't, but I spend a good few hours trying to convert this triangular gap into spaghetti. SpaghettiGapConversion.exe has failed. Crawling back to the parallel median, coast is more closely bordered to avoid the sharper mountain jags, maintaining some variation by varying the height of each lane at intervals where pillars form retaining walls to account for the drop. Preparing the farms. On what do I base the positioning of farmland? Not much, except that each distinct field harbours a medium lot, formerly for the sake of providing employment when small lots are edited with Rico to house only one job, since I am duplicating so many to form larger fields. Now, that functionality of farms and possibly all industries buildings have flopped, simply for the sake of scattering the included sheds throughout. Other than that, fields basically follow road shape or any other containing features such as mountainside where unbound, and are no more narrow than the shortest lot side, so neat polygons are formed. By the way, I do try to make up for the lost production chain traffic by scattering some vanilla farm buildings. A not really main street, more of a truck stop, is formed between a new median offshoot and the old gully-adjacent dump route, which is upgraded to asphalt now that this area serves as a regional centre for rural surrounds. The centre is mostly rural suburban, though farms are present, and I introduce the axiom that fields are sparsely surrounded by trees. From Catchment Gully runs a dirt road, accommodating potato farms and a stretch of residential property before intersecting the median road at Hillport. Occupying the rural suburban lots with housing, a ye-old ticky-tacky hamlet springs from the quayside, and green space is filled mostly by bushes, keeping trees fairly light around the tilled land. There is just enough room for a thin strip of farms to be sandwiched between the swamp and rail yard. Lacking road connection, ferry is the sole means of access to Marsh Island, this pier using thinner boardwalk roads as there is no cargo hub to facilitate this time around. Ground segments fan out at the end since the railing associated with elevation overlaps when overlapped. Sole means of access isn't quite true. Since ferries only service pedestrians, a tunnel, placed so the pier still looks functional, enables emergency services and goods transport. The only paved road here leads pier traffic atop the plateau, with a car park at the base. Looks like I've ceased actually placing parking decals. The layout up here is pretty simple, suited for large farm blocks, some of which I feel the need to cut back upon filling as the combined mass looks bulbous. Some are removed totally, others shaved at the edges, and a couple replaced by cornfields, which appear less substantial for their resemblance to grass. A selection of only 4 residential buildings comprises this truly rural neighbourhood, although properties never achieve the estimated acreage that feels to be bound when dragging fences. You know that one island characterised by differing foliage from the mainland? You do now. Pine trees are the main filler for gaps here. Lastly, farms trace the quay up to the desert in Upper Sandwich Hill, where it is not especially orthodox of the community to connect via the cargo facility, though fine for now as rural areas do what they want. Connection at Lower Sandwich Hill to the suburbs of Main Beach, and some pine trees. Yeah, that's nice. Like driving along the Eyre Peninsula. Harbourware creeping into the strait here, and you know that median road is going to be a real highway someday. Regional centre serving the sparsely populated rural side of the island, one day another metro area no doubt, maybe a second CBD. Lonely island, no road access, but a magical ferry that spawns traffic on demand. Reminds me of South Ballina, sea ferry route to the left. Life in the sticks. I was concerned the island would be too small for significant population, but this small patch of desert houses almost as much as the suburban areas put together, with plenty left for development, if you can call it that. That's all, thanks for watching, and goodbye forever. Before intersecting the median road at Hillport.